Hey guys, it's me, the dude who talks, and welcome to today's video. So, I was meant to be doing this video a little bit earlier, but stuff and things got in the way, and it's now 2020. So, obviously, this video is going to be about my favourite albums of 2019, and I've picked 25 of them. Now, yeah, this year has been absolutely great for music. There's been some really good albums that have come out, especially from some of the independent, more smaller bands, which have brought out some amazing albums, and a couple of albums which I didn't expect to enjoy. So yeah, I think we should dig right into this motherfucker of a video. And spoiler alert, Tool Fear Inoculum isn't going to be on this video because, I just didn't listen to it. Alright then, let's dig in. Right, so I'm really not much of a speed metal guy. I really don't know much about it, and if it wasn't for my friend sending me the link to Burn the Night, I wouldn't have checked out Riot City, to be honest, but I'm really glad that I did. It's a really fun, engaging album and very authentic. If you told me this album was released this year, I would not have believed you. I would have said, fuck off, no. It was released 20 years ago, it's that authentic. So, yeah, Riot City Burn the Night is literally my 25th favourite album of 2019. However, if I was doing a video about album art, this would have got #1 on this video. Easily. No, it would have actually got all places. It's incredible album art. So, yeah. Okay, so this really wasn't an album I was expecting to like as much as I did. Yeah, I'm not really much of a deathcore kind of guy. I've only heard a couple of songs previously, before The Valley by Whitechapel, and I thought they were okay. But yeah, I've never been really into bands like Despised Icon or Suicide Silence that much. I've just never really got into that kind of sound. But I was pleasantly surprised with this album. It's definitely much more mature, I think. It deals with some of Phil Bozeman's past in the album, and to me, it's pretty spectacular. It's got that heaviness there, but it's also got a couple of songs which introduce more groove elements to it, and some of the lyrics are really fucking vicious. I was like, wow. Especially Forgiveness is Weakness, I think that's a really good angry song, and possibly one of the standout tracks on the album, especially also with Brimstone as well. So yeah, The Valley was an absolute pleasant surprise for me, and pretty much been a non-stop play for me all this year. So yeah. Alright, so I discovered the self-titled album by Sublunar Express on a YouTube channel called Stone Meadow of Doom. Now, I do highly urge you to check this channel out on YouTube. It's got a lot of hidden gems there. So, yeah, this album contains a lot of elements like krautrock, psychedelic, post-punk, and a bit of jazz thrown in there for good measure. So it's a really diverse album, and it does it really well, and honestly it's a really good listen, and it's a treat for your ears. So, and it's pay your own price on Bandcamp, so yeah, no excuses for not checking it out, so go check it out. Alright, so in a previous video I mentioned that I went to this gig hosted by Sour Grapes Records, and Earth Tongue were headlining, and I clicked interest without having any actual intention of going, but my friend twisted my arm and said, yeah, you should go, the album's absolutely brilliant. So I gave it a listen, and I was really blown away. It's kind of like heavy psych, but kind of crosses over to like kind of stoner rock territory as well. It's a two-piece from New Zealand. The album, well, when I was like listening to it on YouTube earlier, one of the comments said it's a cross between B-52s and Red Fang, and I thought, yeah, I'm definitely in agreement with that statement. So yeah, go pick up this album. You'll not be disappointed. Alright, so yeah, you've got this riff-filled, dirty, beer-soaked monster of an album. Honestly, the crunchy bass lines on this album, also, as mentioned before, the fucking riffs. Yeah, it is just one of those albums that you want to listen to when you want to chug a few beers. And yeah, if you're a fan of bands like Motorhead, High on Fire, and Midnight, I think this band will be right up your street. So yeah, go check out Possessor and the album Gravelands. Alright, so on Instagram I noticed a couple of guys on that I follow were playing this album when they came out, and I wasn't really too familiar with them, so I wanted to see what the fuss was about myself, so I went to the local record shop. I didn't bother to try and pronounce the album title because, let's face it, I'm not very good at that. So yeah, they told me that there was a lot of demand for this album, and yeah, I managed to pick it up. And I could definitely see why there's a huge demand for this album. It has it all. It's got some really skull-crushing riffs. The vocals from Jessica Ball as well are absolutely dreamlike and sublime. And it's also got like a lot of like Hawkwind style synth effects in it, which give it that kind of space rock kind of feel to it as well. What can I say? Yeah, the standout tracks on this album is obviously the Spaceships of Ezekiel, Katyusha, and Majestic Clockwork. So what I've got to say about this album is that it's hard as fuck in the riffs department. So yeah, go check it out. So after 4 years, they finally bring out Hales, and it was definitely worth the wait. Definitely improves on rhythm and booze in almost every way. There's much more inclusion of black metal elements with blast beats, and it's just much more aggressive and much more in your face. And it's definitely an album with something to say. Definitely still got that kind of boozy, kind of Black Label Society vibe to it, which I absolutely love. And yeah, yeah, they should be proud of this album. It is fucking amazing. So this album was recommended to me by a guy I follow on Instagram who has some really good taste in music, and honestly, I hadn't heard of Dead to a Dying World before, and I was really blown away. They've got that kind of epic doom sound. There's a lot of like orchestral elements in it with like a cello, but they've also got the crushing riffs as well. They've got some really aggressive vocals. Kind of veers off to the more black metal side of it as well. There's like inclusion of blast beats as well. And yeah, and it doesn't feel too overblown. You don't feel like it's like a slog to listen to. It's quite short for what it is. It's like roughly under an hour, which is quite short for some doom metal albums. But yeah, give this a shot, honestly. You will not be disappointed. And it's definitely one of my favourite albums of 2019, obviously. I'll be honest, I've never really paid Exhumed that much attention. And yeah, while I am a fan of like death metal and grindcore, obviously, to name like 5 of my favourite artists, I would kind of struggle to do so. But anyway, besides the point, it was one fateful day at work and my friend decided to link me the album stream on YouTube to my Skype while I was working, and he just told me, just listen to it. And man, it fucking blew me away. I was like, yes! Also, I do recommend listening to the album stream on YouTube. It's really funny. They get a guy to introduce the songs. So yeah, really short album, and it's straight to the point, full of blast beats, just full of fucking aggression and just blood and guts and all that kind of shit. So yeah, Exhumed Horror. Yes. Okay, it's pretty much standard that Earth, or Dylan Carson to be exact, has ever put out a bad album, and Full Upon Her Burning Lips is further proof of that. I think this album is helped a lot with Adrian Davis's drumming. I think it's sublime. Also, Dylan Carson on guitar as well. As always, he definitely creates some really good song structures, and yeah, I think all of his albums just feel like, like huge stories and just like massive journeys, and you just want to just zone out and just absorb it. And this is what this album does. Yeah. A couple of months ago, I kind of felt really like dejected and low, and I felt quite, sad really. And I took solace into this album, Cry. Now, I can't comment whether there was man tears listening to this album, but, knowing me, there probably was. But it was something that was there for me. Like, obviously the lyrics are a bit, especially with hentai, it can be a bit, but it's kind of, I like the idea of how it explores adult relationships and how it's like very blunt towards them. Like, there's a lot of mention of like sex and things like that, and more mature aspects of songs, including like relationships and things like that. So yeah, definitely really enjoyed it. It was definitely there for me when I kind of needed like a release, a cathartic release, you might say. So yeah. Well, what can I say? Pelican brought out an album this year, which was on my birthday. So yeah, Nighttime Stories was a definite purchase from day one. Honestly, I forgot about these guys, and this album reminded me of why I love them so much. And yeah, there's the inclusion of blast beats on this album, like with most of the albums I've mentioned on this list. But yeah, Pelican do what they do best, craft some amazing post-metal, and they're a thing of beauty and a thing of aggression. Honestly. Yes, Pelican. I fucking love them. And another band that I've been waiting patiently for another new album off. So, Admission by Torch. I always admire how these guys kind of approach the sound in a unique way. Like, they call it kind of stoner pop, but I like how the songs are very like short and straight to the point. And also this album leaves a bit more experimentation on it. Kind of veers off a little bit to shoegaze territory, which I was just really excited about. And yeah, this album definitely did not disappoint, and it was worth the wait. So you've probably seen the video of me open up the Royal Chest edition of Dead Eden, so it really comes to no surprise that this album is on this video. Honestly, I think it's a strong, solid effort from these lads. I think they're definitely going places. It's got a good mixture of mellow sound with some really brutal elements into it. Yeah, go buy this album, please. You will not be disappointed. I generally think these guys are going to be going places, hopefully this year, and maybe 2021. Who knows? But yeah, do it. Check it out. Now, Div, I think that's how it's pronounced, aren't a band that I've necessarily been paying much attention to. Like, Facebook, there's this group called Shoegaze, New Gaze and Dream Pop, and they do a lot of recommendations, and this album Receiver came up on it, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a shot. I really didn't expect to like it as much as I did, but it's got that kind of alternative sound to it, also really noisy as well, and it's also got moments where it just sounds a bit like My Bloody Valentine, and yeah, what can I say, I just found it really enjoyable, and it's encouraged me to go watch them live this year, because they're touring in England, so yeah, really enjoyed Receiver, really good album, yes. Well, what can I say? This album just purely fucks. Yeah, what, 23 minutes of just pure, heavy, sludgy, noisy, grindy, corey, everything. And there's room for saxophone as well. Yeah. Standout track definitely is Yagmrul the Many. But yeah, there's Burning Myrrh, Haunting Arches. Fucking hell. Yeah. This album fucks. So, another band I was patiently awaiting to bring out a new album, and that's Cult of Luna. And they really knocked it out of the park with A Dawn to Fear. Now, I don't think Cult of Luna have ever brought out a bad album. They always, create these works of art which are just, you really have to give them your full attention. You've got to listen to it front to back, no interruptions. And A Dawn to Fear is no exception. It rewards you for your patience, and yeah, you just get stuck in listening to it. You just don't concentrate on anything else. Just, yeah. Alright, so another band that seem to always knock it out of the park with their albums, and it's Russian Circles with Blood Year. Now, I wouldn't say they're the most innovative band, but they're the most consistent band, especially in post-rock, and they do the style extremely well. And yeah, this album's no different, especially with songs like Arluk and Quartered. Man, those songs just fucking slap. So yes, this album is amazing. To be honest, it took me a while to properly appreciate Empath. And when I did, I thought, wow. Yeah, this album is purely insane. And with all the guest musicians, it feels more akin to his earlier Strapping Young Lad days. But it kind of has all these weird moments in it that makes you feel like it's this heavy metal musical. Danny Elfman's helped compose it, but, he didn't. So, yeah, and he's even got Chad Kroeger from Nickelback, which was ew. But he's kind of contributing to my favourite song on the album, which is Hear Me, which is just, fucking hell, that's just insane. And what I also liked was, because I saw him live recently, he said that this album was meant to help combat depression, and I've just grew even more respect for him and for this album. And yeah, it is phenomenal. Yeah, you've seen this channel, you know how much I fucking love Mastiff. And yeah, Plague is a fucking monster of an album. Do you like Primitive Man? Do you wish sometimes that the songs were a little bit sped up? Well, Mastiff have got you covered. Plague is a fucking monster of an album, and I genuinely think this will cause them to blow up. I think that they're in the same position that Conjurer was a few years ago before they blew up. So yeah, I'm not really heard much stuff from Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, and it's quite a hard artist to get into because he's got 17 albums, but he's always intrigued me. He's a writer Like, he wrote a script for Gladiator 2, and that looked fantastic. I wish they made that into a film, but yeah, you know, Hollywood and all that shit. So my friend actually sent me the link, you know, as usual, through Skype, to the album stream of Ghosteen, and at first I was like, I don't know what to make of it, but then I owed it to myself to go back to it and give it a proper listen. And honestly, it's one of the most emotional, powerful albums that I've ever listened to. And it's hard not to feel like strong emotions with it. It's kind of like you feel them in a cathartic way. It's like you kind of need this album just to like feel. There's a lot of like beautiful song structures, and Nick Cave has such a way with words. It's really amazing to hear him, especially when he does some of his like spoken word segments on the album, and you just think, oh, you just want to get lost into the music, and it's one of my most amazing surprises of this year, to be honest, and I wish I'd discovered it sooner. Now, this is a hot take from me, but I do feel like hardcore has gotten a little bit stale. Now, I know there's bands like Knocked Loose that are doing really well, but there's nothing really much there for me. I don't think that I actually enjoy. And then I decided to check out Employed to Serve, and fucking hell, they knocked it out of the park with this album. It just sounds so fresh, and it's brutal. The breakdowns, just songs like Beneath It All, and obviously Eternal Forward Motion, and Dull Ache Behind My Eye. I think it's an album just to get you through like the dullness and bleakness of this country, to be honest. Okay, so I'm going to start a drinking game with this video. Take a shot every time I mention that my friend sent me a link via Skype to a band's album on YouTube, which is what happened with Health. Now, I forgot this band existed, to be honest. I was really big fan of We Are Water, and then I kind of forgot about them, and they kind of slipped through the cracks for me until my friend sent me the link to their latest album, and I was like, oh, I forgot completely about this. And to be honest, I was completely hooked. From the opening song Psychonaut to the like really quiet and somber Decimation, this album is a monster. It's kind of like industrial, kind of almost metal-like arrangements. It's like kind of like this dream pop vocals, and it just really works. The lyrics are like dark as hell, and there's one song called Wrong Bag, which has got this really intense like kind of interlude, and I just thought, whoa. And yeah, I've been hooked on this album ever since I've discovered it, and it is literally one of my favourite albums of 2000. Okay, so I'm not gonna lie, this album was going to take the top spot off the list, but there was an even better album that came out. So yeah, so number 2 is Life Metal. Now, I was a bit reluctant to try this album at first because I kind of was a bit disappointed with Canon, but I gave this album a shot and I was blown away by it. It's definitely really engaging, especially for a drone metal record. Now, normally it's like kind of, oh, it sounds like a fan for an hour or something, but no, there's like this kind of like subtle intricacies in this album, especially in the song Trouble Air, where there's like, they've got this bell sounding instrument, and it didn't get me like the first time I listened to that song. Someone had to point it out for me, and I was just like, wow, I didn't realise that was there. And also, what I enjoyed about this was the kind of sombre cello on the last song. And I just thought, wow, this is like really sublime. And it just made me want to go back and listen to the entire album again. I like, especially with the opening song Between Sleeping Breaths. Yeah, it's just an incredible album. And I was going to put Pyroclast on this as well, but that felt like more like kind of like a side album more than anything. But it was, don't get me wrong, it's still an enjoyable album, Pyroclast, but I just preferred Life Metal. Bet you want to know what my favourite album of 2019 is. Well, it's clearly Puddle of Mudd, Welcome to Galvania. Clearly, that album is head and shoulders above everything. Wes Scantlin is a musical god. Fucking hell, this album rips. Yeah, I'm messing with you. You know what it really is? My favourite album of 2019 is Final Transmission by Cave In. I have been waiting for this album for so long that I was almost in disbelief when they were announced that they were bringing out a new album. Now, it's kind of all a bittersweet feeling about this because obviously with the tragic passing of Caleb Schofield due to a vehicle accident, but this album is beautiful and mesmerising in every way and shape and form. While it may not be as heavy as the last album, White Silence, it does have one song that is quite heavy, but the kind of the aggressive vocals have gone and it kind of gears towards more like sounding like Jupiter and Antenna, which are two really good albums. So yeah, Cave In, Final Transmission is my favourite album of 2019. Okay, so that was me talking about my favourite albums of 2019. Did I miss any? Was there any albums that I should have checked out? Or what were your favourite albums of 2019? Please let me know down below in the comments section. Like always, please like, share and subscribe. Really helps me out. I don't know when my next video is going to be, but obviously it's been my 2-year anniversary. I can't believe I've been doing this shit for 2 years. At the behest of nobody. Yeah, it's kind of weird that I'm still doing this and people are still reacting to it in a positive way. I really fucking enjoy it. And to be honest, that's what's been keeping me going what's keeping me doing these videos. So, a massive thank you to anyone who's watched this or subscribed or, you know, what fucking ever. All I've got left to say to you guys is that I've been the Dude Who Talks, and cheers. Still here. Alright, well the video's ended, but while you're still here, I'll just let you know there's videos to the left and right of me. So, yeah, get watching if you want. Talk about cool shit like music and live stuff where I go to gigs, talk about Vinyl Hall and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, fill your boots.